As the third and final season of Star Trek, Picard approaches its conclusion, the pieces are beginning to fit together. We'll look at Dominion this week, where the Titan tries to trick Vadic into a trap. But are rogue elements likely to cause this to go wrong for everyone aboard? Let's delve further. Warning, there will be spoilers. This is a comprehensive and in-depth look at the 7th episode of Season 3 of Star Trek, Picard. You've been warned as a result. If you do not want any spoilers, please turn away now. Welcome to Trek Central. Captain Jack, I'm your host. Coincidentally, smidgen sick this week, so I'm not on screen, so you all set up only some visual stuff. Anyway, I know I sound weird, but we're still here, right? Nevertheless, while you are reading this review, I would like to know your favorite scene from this episode. Contrarily, your worst moment. Please comment on it. Go on. Be prepared. When you reach the comment section, click the subscribe button. Additionally, the like button if you like it. Remember that Sunday at 9:00 p.m. BST this weekend. Yes, in the UK, we switch time zones. With some special guests, we'll enjoy talking about Picard Season 3 on YouTube. Be sure to listen. Okay, take part. Thus, the United States of Titans concealed in the Chintoka scrapyard. Probably this scrapyard is connected with the skirmish of Chintoka in Star Journey Profound Space Nine, perhaps of the bloodiest offense in the whole Domain War. It's very cool to see how the Dominion War has affected not only the changelings, but also places like Chintoka, which are now forever altered. However, it is interesting to note that some of the scrap found in the scrapyard are parts of an old Discovery Vulcan ship. So they could have effectively worn Klingon flotsam and jetsam, Diamond Huda garbage, or even a Starfleet transport like Hurling a Miranda class. Hold on. Additionally, they significantly expand that ship's size. Therefore, I presume that the Vulcans and Starfleet both took a nostalgic look at a ship and constructed a larger version of it. He is definitely being influenced by humans, aren't they? This season of Star Trek Picard features some significant cameos, including Roland in Episode 5. In addition, the first thing in this episode is a cameo. Captain Tuvok is that. He is now a captain in command, indeed. Captain Pips in red. This isn't the first time we've seen Tuvok in the new Star Trek series. In 2380, Tuvok made a cameo as a commander on the lower decks before being promoted to captain. Seven is contacting Tuvok to see if Starfleet will provide more assistance. Individuals who aren't changelings. It would appear that the Time crew is unable to acquire Admiral Janeway's content. Jamie is probably one of the most difficult changelings to replace. I'm pretty sure that the amount of coffee he drinks right now would probably kill a changeling. Flat coffee, we lost 2 more replicators this morning, Captain, because I'm only going to say this once, pay close attention. Espresso dark espresso first. In any case, they learned that Tuvok has been replaced by a machine, but at least he gives some indication that the real Tuvok is still alive, so they must be torturing him. We do get this recall scene, which is very well done and very creepy at the same time as in Rescuing the Android, in which Tuvok transforms into the body of Riker to taunt Picard. In the most recent episode, M510, we saw a lot more of Data and Lore fighting in the positronic brain. I'd also find it funny if they write out suing and B4 fighting as memory files rather than full personalities like Data and Law. It makes sense, I suppose. Lore's side has been taunting a lot. Data even asks Picard for help, which is kind of touching if you still like Nemesis after watching the last couple of seasons. Sincerely, disregard her feelings. Knowing that Picard asked to essentially let Data die in the first season of the show and is now being asked to let another form of Data live makes Picard's conflicted feelings even cooler. Marley seems to be at odds with it. However, it goes without saying that Law and Data interact most effectively with Geordi. What's more, we truly do get 2 or 3 delightful scenes between Beverly Vadic and Picard. Vadic claims that Jack was never really for him, which is interesting. Therefore, Beverly never had Jack Crusher. Someone else did. This makes me wonder if perhaps his child was destined to marry the Borg Queen and be Locutus. Although it seems odd to consider the single curtain wave, it makes sense to me. We must make a hypothesis video about this, haven't we? I'll be writing for Weekend, but it's fun anyway. It's possible that Jack intended to be a new kind of Borg, one programmed in a Locutus, capable of controlling other people and connecting with them without the use of technology. With Vadic with this knowledge, I wonder how these changing worlds learned about Jack and whether or not they allied themselves with the Borg, which is definitely something to consider. Regarding Jack's abilities, this episode features a greater number of these abilities. Vadic even suggests that Jack's physiology is unique in some way. Psychology, physiology, or anything else. Something that even Crusher didn't look for, which is kind of embarrassing. As a doctor, we can see that he has some telepathy, allowing him to hear others' forts and project his own forts into their heads. This is the way he's ready to face his foes in the wake of enacting his red eyes, which currently feels more like a shonen foe star power than anything more. Jack, what should I do? Make a U-turn. He could tell when people were changing this way. He'd heard their posts, and Wither was likewise ready to foresee their developments and route them. Along these lines, in this episode, he hears Sydney's fortifications and teases of her, and even touch the hand when she figures he ought to contact her hand. Isn't that fascinating? In Star Trek, I usually don't like too much flirting, but Sydney and Jack actually make me happy. Based on what she has to say, they appear to like each other. Fantastic also was the scene in which Jack instructs Sydney on how to defeat the changing brute, which I assume is the lieutenant. It appears to be incredibly well seeing Jack do the moves simultaneously as Sydney was, which questions whether Jack is controlling Sydney or simply instructing her through the mind. I believe the latter. Without taking control of the ship's name, Captain of a Titan, and taking Jack as her face master or someone else, none of these actions will ultimately be of much use to him. That will probably be revealed in the following episode. This was episode 7 of the 3rd season of Star Trek. Dominion, written by J. Max and directed by Deborah Kansma, who also directed the 4th season of Discovery. The episode's excellent visual effects actually added more to the story of what was going on at the Chintoka shipyards, which was a nice touch. Given that the Vulcan cruiser would not have been present at the Battle of Chintoka, I thought it odd that the camera focused on it in a debris field. However, it was a scrapyard, so I suppose it could have been towed there. That is logical. After that, we saw the same kind of vessel in open space. I thought I had mixed up the scenes badly, but 2 separate scenes are not a good idea. In any case, occasion saw me when a boat being in open space and recording the strike pays attention to a phony recording of a VSS to organizer going after the Titan presently is a plan to set up his arrangement. But they hired Toba debris from a Chintoka to clear space for a fictitious battle. This is a great way to use VFX to make the story better and add more to it. Worf and Rafi's mission in this episode is one of the weirder ones. Naturally, a lot of LeVar Burns' scenes really sold him. In Star Trek Nemesis, Geordi finally had a conversation with Data about his grief over losing him, how Data's death affected him and broke him, but how the memory of Data helped him cope with his grief and rebuild himself, just as Data helped Geordi become a better person during their time together. Not only do we get to see Geordi's friendship side, but LeVar also does an excellent job of weaving the fatherly side of Geordi into his character's fabric. Jordan had to beg for his daughter Sydney's life because Lord was only helping with changelings and causing chaos. Overall, this episode is great because Brent Spine and LeVar do great work and get a lot of time to show off their performances, which makes it even better. They are working together on this. They make such wonderful friends. Additionally, Geordi and Data are wonderful friends. However, it's fantastic. In a fascinating development, the changing face that Chief Vadic solutions to appears to peer down on Vadic and her friends. Also, this episode appears to offer us some kind of response to Vadic